Hello everyone. Today I want to show you some exercises that you can use to improve the mobility and strength of your shoulders using a simple stick. This is a 4-foot length of 1-inch PVC pipe. Obviously the ends are capped and that's for comfort on your hands. I would actually like something a little bit longer for myself since my arms are so long. More along the lines of 5 feet or so, but most people will do just fine with a 4-foot length. You could also use a wooden dowel. You can get a 4-foot long wooden dowel from Home Depot for 1.25 inch diameter for about $5. And you can order a longer length, an 8-foot length, for about $15. Now, don't ask me why they charge you triple for only double the length, but that's the way it goes. Some things just don't make sense. But anyway, those will all work. You could also use a broomstick if you have one, if that's all you have. But I think the PVC or the dowel will work better. Now, a couple things before we start. Number one, our stance. We want to have a nice strong stance with the feet about shoulder width apart, being nice and tall through our torso for good posture. We want to have our abs pulled in and our tailbone kind of tucked under slightly, keeping those glutes on for a nice strong core. We basically want to have our body still while our arms are moving for all of these exercises. Number two, if you have any kind of a shoulder issue, you may want to, some of these might not be appropriate for you, or you may have to just limit the range of motion or limit how hard you are pulling on this stick. Again, we don't want to cause any pain or any worsening of your symptoms, so just be careful as you're doing these exercises. Go slow and see how they do for you. Number three, the effect that you're going to get is going to depend on how you're applying pressure on this stick. Basically, the direction and how much. Sometimes we'll be pulling out, sometimes we'll be pulling in, sometimes not putting much pressure on at all, depending on the exercise. I'll explain those as we go through. A lot of this is going to be coordinating which muscles you're working and just learning how to apply force to this stick. And I think you'll start to learn that as you do the exercises, but again, just go slow and see how they work for you. So we're going to start off with a simple mobility workout, and we're going to start with a pendulum swing. My hands are on the ends of the caps, I'm nice and tall, keeping my body still, and I'm just going to use the bottom hand to push the top one up, and then I'm going to switch. And again, how far I go is dependent on if I have any shoulder issues or not that I'm dealing with. And so the first 3 or 4, I'm just going to be fairly passive with that top arm. And now I'm going to put some inward pressure on the stick with both arms just to activate a little bit more muscle. And I'm going to do about maybe 3 reps or so. And I'll just go ahead and do one more. Okay, now we're going to go on a diagonal. So I'm going to change my orientation, and I'm going to bring this right up across my line of sight and back, and then down and across. And again, I'm trying to keep my body nice and still, and limit your range of motion if there's any pain. Trying to keep those arms almost perfectly straight. And now I can again put some inward pressure on that stick as if I'm compressing it just to activate a little bit more muscle. And as you get warmed up, you might find yourself going a little bit farther in your movements. Now I'm going to reverse that and go to the other side. And again, right now I'm fairly passive. I'm not applying any pressure to the stick. My bottom hand pushes that top arm up and back. Okay, now I'm going to put some inward pressure on both ends of the stick to activate a little bit more muscle. Okay, good. Now I'm going to go into what we call a kayaking pattern. So it's basically alternating arm circles, and there's a little bit of coordination in this, but just follow along. You can see that the bottom arm that comes through stays right there while the other arm comes around over the top. Now I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm not really counting reps. You can probably do anywhere from 3 to 5 each direction. Okay, now I'm going to take my hands, I'm holding it with palms down, and notice my arms are out slightly away from my body. Again, I have a nice strong stance. I'm going to be pulling out upward on the stick now to activate the muscles in my upper back. And I'm going to bring my hands up overhead as far back as I can go without poking my neck through or my head through. Hold, and then I'm coming back down. So again, you want to take this only as far as your shoulder mobility or pain will allow. Trying to go a little farther every time, but again, I never want to force my range of motion. This is the last one I'm going to do. Now I'm going to stay up here on top, and I'm still pulling out on the stick, but now I'm going to pull a little harder with one hand and bring the other one right into my ear. And I'm going to take it as far as I feel comfortable. Again, I'm not trying to go too far. But this actually feels very good for me. Again, you may have to limit the range of motion a bit. Okay, now warm-up is done. Now we're going to start with a little bit of strength work. I'm going to start with what we call abduction, which is moving the arm away from the body. I'm holding the stick on one side with my palm forward, and on the other side, I'm going to start with my left arm. My right arm is holding with the palm down. And I'm just pulling my left arm out away from my body. I'm trying to go to about shoulder height. I'm pulling it back down with the right arm. I'm resisting my left arm with my right arm. And my right arm has an advantage in this movement, so it can make it very challenging for bringing that arm up to that 90 degrees. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to the other side. I wish I could hold this with my palm slightly different, but it actually works quite well this way. And my right shoulder is getting a lot of work here. And I'm just going to do one more. We could do more. We could do even 8 to 10, but I'm going to stop so we don't make this video too long. Now, with that exercise, we can also do what we call isometrics, which is where we're applying pressure, but we're not moving. So I'm going to start with my left arm again. And I'm just going to apply pressure this way to the stick, but I'm holding it in place with my right arm. I'm not letting it move. I hold it about maybe 7 to 10 seconds, and I'll relax. And now I can come up partway and do it again. Now the advantage of this is that if I have painful areas, I can avoid them. But I can also work on positions where I'm not very strong. And a lot of times this is easier on your body if you have some kind of a painful shoulder than doing something where you're moving through the range of motion. I'm going to switch to my other side. I'm starting with my arm in close to my body. Again, I'm going to hold it for 7 to 10 seconds. Relax. I'm going to come up to about 45 degrees and do it again. And I haven't done that many of these, but my shoulder is getting pretty tired already. I'm going to relax, and I'm going to bring it up to about 90 approximately, and do it again. And again, my shoulder's getting pretty tired here. And I'm going to relax. Okay, so that's shoulder abduction, moving through the range of motion, and isometrics. Now I'm going to go back to my diagonal pattern that we did earlier. And I'm going to hold my left hand with my palm, or with my thumb up here, and my right hand, the palm is down. This is applying the resistance. I'm starting with my left arm. I'm starting across my body down toward this hip pocket, and then I'm just going to pull up and across with my left arm, and my right arm is resisting. Now I'm pulling back down with my right arm, and my left arm has to resist that motion downward. So it's almost like lifting a weight where my right arm is applying the resistance to that motion. I'm pulling it up and back. And again, this gets very challenging because my right arm has the advantage. I can put as much pressure as I want with that right arm. And I can make it so I couldn't even move it. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to come back down. And now I'm going to switch to the other side. Again, my left arm is going to apply the resistance. Nice and tall. I'm pulling from, again, across my body, up and across. in a diagonal pattern. And again, this gets very challenging. My shoulder's tired. I can apply more or less resistance to this depending on how strong I am and depending on how much fatigue I want to create in this motion. I'm going to do 2 more. And now 1 more. And relax. Now I can also do these isometrically just like I did the other ones. So I can start down here across my body and I can just pull. Again, my left arm is pulling, my right arm is resisting, but I'm not moving. I can do here. I can come up maybe about this high and do it again. And I'm going to come back and do it again. And I'm going to relax. I'm going to go to the other side. Again, I'm starting across my body. I'm pulling up and across. And I'm just holding. And then relax. I'm going to come up about here and do it again. And notice the stick determines my line of pull, my direction. And then I'm coming here. Up and across. Okay, good, and relax. Now, I meant to do this earlier, but I'm going to go back to this abduction movement. We can take that motion over our head here, and I'm holding wide on the stick, and now I'm pulling in with both arms. Now, I'm going to let one kind of overpower the other one. I'm going to bring in a little bit more. I'm going to let one pull a little harder and bring it toward my head, and then let the other one pull. Again, one arm wins a little bit, but both shoulders are working. And I'm just going to do one more. My shoulders are getting tired. And again, I can also do that movement isometrically. I can start, and this is where maybe a longer stick would be helpful because I can start out here a little bit more, but this is what I have. So I'm going to start here, and I'm pulling in on the stick with both arms as if I'm bringing them to my ears. And again, 5 to 7 seconds. Now I can switch and come here. Hold it 5 to 7 seconds. Then I can bring it even closer and pull with both arms. And again, this is quite challenging, believe it or not. It doesn't look like much, but I can really feel it. Okay, so that's the abduction, moving away from the body. I can also do this in what we call adduction, which is bringing the arm back down to my body. So I'm going to start up high here. And again, I'm starting out here. I'm pulling outward on the stick this time. And now I'm just pulling to one side, and the other arm is resisting. I'm going to go a little wider. And again, one arm overcomes the other one, but they're both basically fighting each other. And there, again, there's some coordination in this, but once you get it, it actually feels quite good. Okay, so that's movement. I can do it isometrically again, just like before. I can come here and pull out. Actually, I'm going to come a little closer. I'm pulling out on the stick. And then I can come out a little wider and do it again. And I can't go much wider, but I can go a little wider and do it again. Again, this is where if I had a longer stick, I could go a little further out. And I'm engaging my lats, my big wing muscles here, in that, what we call adduction movement. So we've done abduction, we've done that diagonal pattern, we've done adduction. Now we can come out in front of our body. And this movement we call horizontal abduction and adduction. In this case, I'm going to be pulling in on the stick, but again, one arm is going to overcome the other one and bring it across my body. So they're both fighting each other, but I'm going through a range of motion. I'm activating and strengthening my pectoral muscles or my chest muscles in the front of my body and the front of my shoulder. So again, after I've gone through this with movement, the other way I can do it is isometrically again. I can start wide. I'm going to start out here this time, and what I'm going to do is work two positions at once. My left arm, or my right arm is in front of my body, my left arm is out to the side, and I'm compressing in on the stick. I'm holding 5 to 7 seconds. I come to a mid position here, pulling in with both arms. Again, I'm activating my pectoral muscles. Shaking a little bit and relax. And coming here and pulling again. And relax. Okay, so now this is horizontal adduction. Now we're going to do what we call horizontal abduction, pulling away from the body. So I'm out here, I'm pulling out on the stick, and then my arms are fighting each other and going back and forth. I'm pulling out, I'm activating the muscles of my mid-back and the back of my shoulder, and going through a complete range of motion with each arm. Again, limit the motion if you need to. Okay, and again, my shoulders are tired. Isometrically, I can start here and pull out on the stick with both arms. I think I said 5 to 7 seconds earlier, I meant 7 to 10. Come to the mid position and do it again. And then over to the other side and do it again. My shoulders are really getting tired right now. And relax. Okay, so I've gone through all those positions. The last position I'm going to go through is behind my body. And again, you might need to be a little careful back here. For some people, getting the arms behind the body isn't all that comfortable. But this is an area that we don't move into very much, so it can be pretty valuable to start to develop some strength back in this area. So again, I can kind of pull back and forth. In this case, I'm pulling out on the stick. And again, it's a fairly small range of motion, but getting stronger back here is actually a pretty good thing. A lot of us don't move into certain ranges of motion very much, and so we don't get very strong back there, or we don't get strong at all back there, and those are areas where we can get injured if we happen to get forced there. Okay, now I can do it isometrically again in different positions, however I want to do it. Again, I can also pull in on the stick. I'm going to go a little wider, but I can also pull in on the stick. And again, my arms are fighting each other back and forth. I could even take it farther back if I wanted to. Again, I need to be careful. But this is actually just fine for me. It feels very comfortable. It's not painful. I can do it isometrically in different positions. And then my shoulders are pretty tired right now. I don't know about yours, but so there you have it. Lots of different positions we can do. Very simple object we can use, easily acquired either from the hardware store or some other place. But anyway, if you have questions, please feel free to contact me at the fitness center. I'd be happy to answer them. And everybody, thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.